Hey everybody, welcome or welcome back to my channel. Y'all, it is week 6. It is 6 weeks before the last frost date in zone 7. And this video is all about the weekly seed starting challenge. And then also we're going to talk about how to up pot your plants and when you should be doing that. So if you're brand new here, please take a moment and say hello to me in the comments and let me know that you're new. Let me know what city, state, or country you're coming in from so I can say hello back. And if you've been here before, thank you so much. Welcome back to you. And I appreciate you supporting the channel. Y'all, I'm excited because literally, y'all, in 6 weeks or less for some of you, it is time to start the summer garden. Y'all, it is coming fast and furious, and I am ready for it. Now, today, the weather is not as great as it was last week. It is pleasant in terms of temperature, but it's very cloudy, very dreary, and that's kind of be our forecast for the next 4 or 5 days here in Tennessee. But we can still get things done, even though it's a little bit dreary and not full of sunshine. So I'm glad to be back out with you to start seeds yet another week. So if you're new here, let me explain to you what is going on and what you just landed on. And so every week I am starting my seeds for the summer garden, and I am doing a weekly seed starting challenge. This is my 3rd year doing it. And the challenge is simply this. I challenge you to start seeds every single week for a couple of reasons. 1, to reduce the overwhelm. 2, so that your timing is right and that you're not starting seeds too far in advance or too late. And so we start seeds together. Now, even if you're not in my zone, that is okay. Whenever it is 6 weeks before your last frost date, these are the things you should be starting, what you see me starting in this video. So some of you are in front of me and some of you are behind me. But wherever you are, make sure that you're starting your seeds weekly, that you have a plan for the summer garden. Now, if you're a brand new gardener, this is your absolute first time and you don't know what your estimated last frost date is, all you have to do is Google it. Just say, hey, Google, what is my last frost date for zip code, blah, 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 and it will give you an estimated last frost date. That just simply means that is the estimate on average of when frost ends in your area. And we want to know that because we don't want to put out our summer crops when there's still a chance of frost. So that is the reason why we go by that date. Now, here in my zone 7, the estimated last frost date is April the 21st. What will happen as soon as it gets close to April the 21st, I will start looking at the 10-day forecast to make sure that there is no frost. Because remember, it is an estimate. And so there may be frost that comes on April the 27th. That's why I want to look at the 10-day forecast to make sure before I put my crops out. Now, for me, I have a high tunnel and I also have an outside garden. So for the high tunnel, I will start planting my stuff out there in the high tunnel, usually around the 2nd or 3rd week of April before the last frost date, because I have protection and it doesn't matter as much because I'm not planting them outside. Okay. And then usually I will wait about a week or so to plant my stuff outside. Now, that all depends on schedule and everything else. There have been times when I have planted it never before the last frost date, but like right at it. And there have been a night or two that it may have dipped below 55 degrees and my stuff was still okay. Now, so I'm telling you the best way to do it. And again, because I've been gardening, this is my 6th year gardening, I'm willing to take a little bit of risk for a lot of reward. But you do what is best for you. I know that many people, especially in this area, wait to plant their stuff out after Mother's Day, which is like 2 to 3 weeks after the estimated last frost date. For me, I don't do that, but again, it's a personal preference. It's whatever works best for you and your zone. Now, if I looked at the 10-day forecast and saw that it was going to be 30 degrees, obviously I wouldn't plant my stuff out, but for the last 4 years, it has not been that way in my area. So today, y'all, we're talking about what do you start at week 6 or 6 weeks before your last frost date. And the reason why that's important, again, timing matters. You don't want to start your stuff too early. And so one of the things that you're going to hear me talk about today that we're going to be starting again, we started it last week, were our tomatoes. And many people want to get a jump start on their tomatoes, and they may start them at 10, 11, or even 12 weeks before their last frost date. And what happens is that your tomatoes get too big, they get root bound, and they're ready to go on the ground before your ground is ready. So that's the reason why timing is important. So what I want to walk you through today are what things you should be planting or starting seeds on at 6 weeks before your last frost date. I'm going to start my seeds with you and tell you the specific varieties that I'm starting of those things. But then before we do that, I always like to take a look back and show you the progress that you and I have made together when we started our seeds on the weeks before. And so I'm going to insert that footage here. You're going to see the progress of seeds that we started for the last 5 weeks, all the way from week 11, 10, 9, 7, 8, and 7. And so I'm going to insert that footage right here. Okay, so this is the first seed tray we started 11 weeks before the last frost day. So 5 weeks ago, you can see the growth. This tray right here is the next one that we started. You can see the growth there. We have some coleus there, some petunias that have not germinated as well as they did last year. This germination has been very spotty. And then moving on over to the next week's tray, you can see we have some yarrow on the right-hand side, and then that's lemon balm right there in the front. The rest of the tray is hit or miss. Some of those things have been for the last 2 to 3 weeks, and they take 14 to 21 days to germinate. So we're still waiting to see some of those things. But you can see I have some marigolds in that tray that we just did last week that have already popped up. This is a tray that I started last week. These are our tomatoes. You can see I already have some germination. They germinated in about 5 days on the heat mat. I took them off the heat mat, and you can see there's germination there. On the right-hand side are peppers. They have not germinated as of yet, but trust and believe they will come hopefully this week. Now let's move on to the other tray. This is another tray of tomatoes as well. You can see I still have some germination on this. It is spotty, but they are starting to pop up. Like I said, this happened around day 6. So we're still waiting on the rest of them to pop up. I feel confident that they will happen this week. That's our pineapple tomato there. That's popped up. That's some of our cherry tomatoes. The Paul Robinsons have not done anything as of yet, but overall, this tray is doing a-okay. Now, as we move on to the next tray, which is mostly peppers, you can see the story is a little bit different. Peppers tend to take a lot longer to germinate than tomatoes, even when they're on the heat mat. They can take 14 days on average, but sometimes it can take up to 21. So here's the pepper tray. You see I have one right there, another one popping up right there, another one popping up right there under the jalapeno. Okay, there's another one. There's another one. So again, they are coming, but you can see they're just now breaking through the ground, so to speak, or breaking through the soil, not nearly as far as the tomatoes. Okay, so as you can see, of course, the older it's been, or the less recent it's been since I've started the seeds, of course, I have more germination because the germination is going to come over time. The things that I started just last week, you can see overall, I would say about 50% of my tomatoes have germinated. And so I have taken them off the heat mat. So just as a refresher, last week when we started our seeds, we had peppers, tomatoes, and eggplants specifically that we took indoors and we put on a heat mat because those things like heat, peppers, tomatoes, and eggplant. Okay, but as soon as you see germination, I don't care if you have a tray of 72 like me and you only see one sprout that's germinated, I immediately take it off of the heat mat and I put it under lights, because once it's germinated, it doesn't necessarily need to be on the heat anymore. Now, you still have other ones that have not germinated that won't be exposed to the heat, and that's okay. Don't keep your plants on the heat mat too long, because that's when you will find issues with mold, with fungus gnats, and or over moisturize and all the things that come with that, okay? So I have removed those things from the heat mat and put them under lights. So as of right now, I have only have 1.5 trays under on a heat mat. The rest of the things that we started, remember we started 4 trays last week. Those other 3 trays are already under lights, okay? Now you can see that my tomatoes have germinated in about 5 to 6 days, and I still have peppers that have not, the majority of my peppers have not germinated, and that is normal. Peppers, I know generally for me, can take 14 days. And so even though you're like, oh my goodness, nothing's happening, do I need to reseed? I just know from experience that peppers take longer. And when I'm doing peppers, usually my jalapeno peppers will germinate first, and then things Other things will germinate usually around day 14. It usually takes 14 days, right? And so don't give up and don't be discouraged. I've had some take all the way up to 21 days, okay? And as you can see in the video, my jalapenos were pretty much the first ones to germinate when it came to peppers. And so I guarantee you, we pray and we hope that next week's video, you will be able to see more things that have germinated in the pepper category. But as for now, you can see that it's moving very, very slow, which is normal. So that's the reason why I show you the progress. One, so you can see what it looks like when it germinates, but then also to give you encouragement and to give you expectations about what you should be seeing if you started around the same time that I did, okay? So hopefully that is helpful. Now, before we talk about what we're going to start this week, we're actually going to do some uppotting first. And so let's go over to the table. Let's talk about what uppotting is. Let's talk about why we're uppotting, and we'll do that first, and then we'll start our seeds for this week at week 6. Okay, so we're going to go from the 6-inch trays like this to 2.5-inch pots. And so basically uppotting is very similar to what it says. You're uppotting. You're taking it from one pot to another. So from a smaller pot to a bigger pot. That's all uppotting is. And the reason you want to do that is so that your roots and your plant has space to grow. So things that are started in here, you know, will not last per se until they're ready to go out in the ground. And so you want them to continue to grow, but they need new space. So that's the reason why you would uppot. How do you know when it's time to uppot? Is just one, from sheer time. And so usually at the 4 to 5 week mark, if it's not going to go in the ground and I started in a 6-inch pot, it's probably going to need to be uppotted if it's not ready to go in the garden, or I'm not ready for it to go in the garden. So that's one thing, is just the sheer time that has passed. But then also you'll start to see how your crops look. If they may have roots coming out of the bottom, they may start to yellow because they need nutrients and because they don't have enough space to grow. And you'll see that once you uppot it, it'll all of a sudden just start to get big a lot faster, because then now it has space. So remember, you know, this right here is a very, very, very tiny little pocket. So you may say, well, why don't you just start them in this instead of having to uppot, because that seems like extra work. And that makes logical sense, but it's not best for the plant. I wouldn't want to start a eucalyptus seed, something that's small, or something that I did in one of these, like lavender, in one of these. Number one, I'm going to use way more soil, right? I don't know what my germination is going to be like, and it's going to be harder for me to get it to grow properly and to germinate, because it is in so much soil. Does that make sense? So one, you're using way more soil than what you need. And then two, you have to keep that watered, maintained, and all of that. And sometimes, because it's bigger, it has too much surface area, and so it will not germinate as well. So the sizing does matter. And so trying to take a shortcut and start it in something bigger doesn't always work out to your benefit. And again, why would you want to start something in a 2.5-inch pot that's very, very small? Like, for example, we're going to uppot this thyme. And so these are, 6 cells. There's several plants in each of these. And again, the amount of soil that I used for all 6 of these will fit in 1 cup. So imagine if I did this many seeds in these 2.5-inch cups, how much soil would I use? I would use a ton, right? So one of the things we're going to do is uppot our lavender, because I don't want that to go in the ground yet, and I actually want it to get bigger. A lot of these I'm going to sell, and so I wanted to get as big as possible for our plant sale. And then I'm going to uppot the thyme so that it has space to grow. Now, technically, if I wanted to put the thyme out, I could, but I wanted to get bigger before I put it out. So I'm just going to uppot it and baby it a little bit more in the house, and then we'll kind of go from there. And so all I'm going to do is, let me get some soil. I usually fill up my cup like halfway. And then put my plant in there. So you can see I have it like halfway full. I'll push this up. You can see what that seedling looks like. I'll pop it in here. And then I will backfill it with soil. That's how I do it. It's just that easy. It's just like you're planting up a new plant. And now that lavender is going to grow even bigger because it has more space to grow. And so then that's the new plant. Just like that. Easy peasy. As the kids say, lemon squeezy. If you have questions about uppotting, put it down below. This lavender smells so good. So I'm just going to take time to uppot all of these, and then I'll bring you back and we'll talk about where we're going to start at the 6-week mark. Okay, guys, I got half. So we started with a whole tray, and I uppotted half of it. So let me show you the uppot. Those are the uppotted ones. You can see that there. Now, another reason why you want to start small and then go big is also space. If you're struggling with space like me, I counted this morning, we've already started almost 700 seeds, and we're at the halfway mark, okay? So before it's all said and done, I will have started close to 2,000 seeds, more than likely, by the time it's all said and done. And so space is a really big deal for me. So I have to start small, and I have to keep doing this process where I'm creating more space. So another reason, again, that uppotting, I get these trays back that I can reuse for new seeds that I want to start in 6-cell trays, because I'm at the very end of all of my 6-cell trays. But I know, because I've been doing it for a couple of years at least, starting seeds with these, I know that I have enough to get me through if I just keep rotating. Now I can buy some more, but I should have done that in the beginning if I wanted some more, because it'll take a couple of weeks for them to get here now. So, but that is another way that I keep my trays in rotation. Now also, uppotting, although I started small, I'm going big, I am now gonna lose space because I had all of these plants in one tray, 72 plants in one tray. I've done half, and I already have used a tray. So for me to do this other half would create a new tray, right? So it's gonna double the trays that I have when I uppot. Now, this is deal. I'm gonna go ahead and put this outside in my garden when I go to the high tunnel. And then the rest of this is eucalyptus and thyme. I will uppot it, but I want to see what space I have after I do these trays for the 6-week mark. And I want to make sure that I have enough to fill up a whole 32 tray like this. So I'm glad that I got those uppotted. So I got half of it uppotted. So we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have, wow, I have 23 lavender. And I have 1 oregano, and I have 8 orange thyme that's uppotted. We only started, I want to say, 12. No, I think we started 16 lavender. And so some of them I separated because it grew more than one seed germinated. And then I have 2 more lavender here. And these are the Dollar Tree seeds, it says. So 2 out of 6 germinated here that I can uppot. But I'll let this get a little bit bigger before I uppot it. And then the eucalyptus, I can let that go a little bit as well. So we're good to go. So now let's talk about what we're going to be starting in week 6. Now let's talk about what you can start at 6 weeks before your last frost date. So some of it is going to be the repeat of the same of what we started at week 7, and even some things on week 8. Because remember, there is a range of things that you can start. So tomatoes can be started 6 to 8 weeks. That means 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 8 weeks, right? And so those things are fair game at week 6. So to recap, here are the things that you should be having on your list at 6 weeks before your last frost date. Tomatoes, peppers, eggplant, When it comes to flowers, you can do marigolds, you can do celosia, you can do aster, you can do gomphrena. If you're a flower person, those are some flowers to start at the 6-week mark. If you want to do herbs, then you can be doing your sage. We did sage at week, I think, 7, but you can do your sage now at week 6. You could also do chamomile. So those are a couple of herbs, a few flowers, and vegetables that you can be starting at the 6-week mark. And so for me, I'm going to do, again, more of the same, except I'm going to be doing different varieties. So let's talk about the varieties and the things that I'm going to be doing at week 6 specifically. So when it comes to tomatoes, at week 7, I did my slicing tomatoes and I did my cherry tomatoes. The slicing tomatoes that I did them for the ones that I know that are going to go in my high tunnel. Today, I'm going to do slicing tomatoes that's going to go in my outside garden. Now, remember, I have a large space and I'm starting hundreds of tomato seeds. So that is why I split mine up. And remember, I told you in the beginning, I'm going to be planting my high tunnel quicker or sooner than I'll be planting my outside garden because it's covered and I have protection. So if the temperature drops a little low, it's going to be less impactful for the high tunnel than it will be if they were outside. So that's why I separate on how I'm starting my tomato seeds, okay? And so today, I'm going to start my slicing tomatoes that are going to go outside. And then I'm also going to be starting my paste tomatoes because I have not yet done those yet. So let's talk about what varieties I'm going to be doing for that. So the slicing tomatoes that I'm going to do, I'm going to do a traditional beefsteak. That'll go outside. I do that every year in my outside garden. These seeds are just from the Dollar Tree. I've done them time and time again. They work just fine. And then I'm also going to be doing a new slicing tomato that I've never done before. And I want to say one of you guys suggested this. When I put up a post about a month or so ago and said, what's your favorite tomato? You guys said this one, so I went and bought it. It's called Black from Tula Tomato. And the description says, this tomato is deep burgundy and green in color with a, Lord, I can't see y'all, with a flattened globe shape, grown for slicing. It has low acidity and sweetness, yields tomatoes that can weigh up to 1 pound each. It's ideal for juicing or canning. In hotter climates, this variety can have a slightly smoky flavor. Sounds good to me. So this is a brand new one that I'm going to try. I'm only going to do 6 of these because I've never done it before. I want to see if I like it. So that's another slicing tomato. And then there is a couple of cherry tomatoes that I did not do last week that I'm going to do this week. And these are specifically for my GREENSTALK. And so I'm going to do one called Eye Candy from Wild Boar Farms. I did this one last year. It's absolutely beautiful and it tastes great. It's like more of a cherry tomato. So we're going to do that again. So that's it when it comes to the slicing tomatoes. Now let's talk about the paste tomatoes that we're going to do. So I'm going to do 4 different kinds of paste tomatoes. 2 I've done before and 2 that are brand new. So I'm going to do a Roma tomato. I've done this one before. And usually I don't start Roma tomato seeds. I always intend to, because I usually put my Romas out here in my backyard for my second succession of planting. Like once I pull my onions, once I pull my garlic, I will plant this outside space back here where I am now. But that doesn't usually happen until June. So that's like my 3rd planting area. But last year I did do a couple of Roma tomatoes in my high tunnel and they did okay, but I'm gonna try some outside in my outside garden for the first time. So I'm gonna do this Italian Roma from Botanical Interest that I bought when I was in Florida. I'm gonna do Amish paste. That's a fan favorite. I've done that one before. It's one of my favorite paste tomatoes. And then I'm gonna do 2 new ones. One called Juliet. I have to pop a picture up here, but it's by Johnny's. And then one called Jersey Devil. I've never done this one before. This is from MI Garden. Now, let me read the description on this one. It says, it's a unique heirloom variety known for its elongated pepper-like shape and vibrant red color. Its prolific, indeterminate variety produces large, meaty fruits that can grow up to 6 inches long. Has a rich, sweet flavor and minimal seeds. These are great for making sauces, paste, and candy, which is what I want it for. So if you've tried this one before, let me know. If you've tried the Juliet, let me know. That's more of like a grape tomato, I think. So those are the 4 that I'm going to be doing when it comes to paste tomatoes. Next, I'm going to do more eggplant. We started eggplant last week. I don't think any have germinated as of yet. I don't think. And last week we did a traditional Black Beauty, and we also did one called Thanos. This week we're going to do, this one is a brand new to me. It's called Thai Purple Ribbed. That is what it looks like. I think it's pretty. I like the shape. I like the little ridges. So I think that'll be pretty in the garden. Okay, so we talked about the eggplant and the tomatoes that we're going to be starting. Now let's talk about the flowers that we're going to do. So I'm going to do, I think, 4 different kinds of celosia, and let me show you. So I'm doing one called Sunday Bright Orange. I'll pop a picture up there. I'm doing this one. I saw this one. I went to the Baker Creek. I did the Baker Creek tour. I toured Baker Creek. If you didn't see that video, I'll pop it up here. Fun visit. I would have never bought this just from sight of this picture, but when I saw it in person, it was absolutely beautiful. So this is the Corkscomb Red Raven. It's in the celosia family, if I'm not mistaken. And then I'm going to do Kumquat Orange. And then I'm going to do Chief Gold, which I did Chief Gold last year. So those are the 4 different kinds of celosia. I'm going to do, also I'm going to do a pampas. I'm going to do this one. It's been a few years since I've done this one, but this is really, really pretty, and it's beautiful in flower arrangements. The Pampas Plume. If you're new here, I absolutely love flowers. Love flowers. And so in my in my imagination, I have a flower garden. Although, yeah, in my imagination. But I do a lot of flowers. I don't sell the flowers. I just do them for my own. I do them for pollination. I do them for beauty. And I bring cut flowers into my house every single week, which I absolutely love. So next, I'm going to do Gomphrena. I did Gomphrena probably 3 years ago, and I wasn't a big fan of it, but I'm going to try it again. One specifically because they have a white, and it's, when I'm doing my flower arrangements, I always want like a white flower, because it just, with the color, it just looks nice instead of just having oranges, yellows, pinks all together. Now that looks pretty too, but a pop of white always looks good, especially against eucalyptus. And it's hard for me to find a white flower that I've been able to grow really, really well. So I saw this one and I thought, this could be a good filler flower. So I'm going to try it again and see if I like it. I just don't love the way it looks. But I'm going to try it again because it's been a few years. And I've seen it in other people's stuff. And I'm like, oh, I like that. But when I did it, I didn't like it. But we're going to try it again. And then I have this salmon pastel, which I think is really pretty. I do like that one. So we're going to do those 2. And then we're going to do straw flower. I have never, ever been successful at straw flower. So I'm going to try again. I heard it dries beautifully in the freeze dryer. You can dry for wreaths and stuff like that. But that's the variety that I'm going to do. It's called Swiss Giant Blends. And then I'm going to do some more marigolds. We've done marigolds for the last 2 weeks. I'm just going to add some more marigolds to fill up the tray. And then I'm going to do probably some more chamomile if I have space. So let's just get to it and get all of our seeds started. I think we're going to walk away with 2 trays, which will be another 144 seeds. When I did a count this morning, like I said, I've already started almost 700 seeds. So again, we're just at the halfway mark. Just at the halfway mark. So we still have a ways to go. But let's just get to it. It's really hard to believe that we're halfway through the seed starting season. I mean, typically I started 12 weeks before the last frost date. This time I started 11 weeks before, just because I think I was traveling during that time. And so literally, y'all, we're halfway through if you're in my zone. And that's just wild to think about. I think about doing it week by week. Especially for me, it makes it manageable. I can't, even on these big weeks, like last week was a big week because we started over 300 seeds. That was a big week. It took a lot of planning, a lot of organization, and it probably took me a couple of hours just for the whole process. And so every week is not like that, but I can't imagine doing all of my seeds at one time, like on a weekend or a day, and just trying to do everything at once, especially not with the size garden that I have. And so doing it week by week definitely makes it manageable. And you can look back and see, wow, we have made some progress. Like when I counted my seeds this morning, I was a little shocked. I mean, I knew that I had started seeds every week, but of course on that first week and on the second week, I only did one tray at a time. And so for the first week, I had just that one tray there under all those grow lights. But now when I look at my first shelf is almost completely. I think I have space for 3 more trays, and then I will have to go to my second shelf, which is in my sunroom. And so really after next week, after the 5th week mark, I will definitely be in the sunroom, and it will just go from there. And as plants get bigger, I will have more and more to uppot over the next few weeks. And so those things take up more space, which means you have less space to work with. So yeah, all I can say is just keep going. Even though it may seem overwhelming week by week, this is far better than trying to do it all at one time. And you'll be so glad that you did. Okay, guys, so 2 reminders that I wanted to make sure that I remind you about is, one is the GREENSTALK sale that's going on right now. The 7-tier leaf planter is on sale just for 24 more hours. And so it is on sale up to like $60 off. It's normally $169. It is on sale for $119. But if you use my code LFF10, you get an extra $10 off, so that brings it down to $109. So you can save $60. So if you are in the market for a 7-tier leaf planter, this is the time to do it. They very rarely go on sale, so definitely use my code LFF10 and go ahead and grab you one while they're on sale. They'll only be on sale, I think, until the 10th, which is the next day by the time this video comes out. Also, I want to remind you, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any of the upcoming videos. Y'all, I got a long shot list of videos that I am working on for you guys. Some exciting new things that you're going to see, some old things that you've seen before with a new way. And then just for some of you, it's going to be all new because you're brand new to my content. So I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you're a part of this community. But make sure that if you need a GREENSTALK, go ahead and do that now. And then also, if you have not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do. Okay, guys, we got it all done. 2 trays done. I got to mist them, and then put the vermiculite on them, but they are done. So 2 more trays, 144 seeds done. Week 6 in the books, done. I want to encourage you because, y'all, if you've been starting seeds along with me every single week, you may be at the point like, man, I'm running out of space already, or Lexi, move. I'm running out of space already. I'm tired. Y'all, I didn't have as much energy today, but I pushed through and got it done. This is what it requires. Every day is not going to be sunshine and roses. Every day is not going to be hype day. I know I come on here and I'm hype, and 99% of the time I am. But there's sometimes I'm like, hey, I'm faking it till I can make it, right? Because this is what has to be done in order for me to have food for my family, food that I trust, food that I can grow myself, and food that I can't get at the grocery store. So I just want to encourage you, if you're at that point and you're feeling a little tired, a little waning, hey, take a rest break, get right back up, and get right back to it. Y'all, I'm so excited because we're halfway. We are halfway there. 6 weeks left if you're in zone 7. For those that are in week zone 8, you're already ahead of me by a week or two. So you only have like 4 more weeks until you can start planting your stuff out. And for those that are behind me, hang on, your time is coming. Let me know in the comments what you guys are starting this week. Let me know what questions you have about what I did. Let me know how your gardens are doing. I want to know. Talk back to me in the comments. Remember, y'all, this is all a journey. Let's do it together. I cannot wait to see you in the next video. Bye for now.